Hey, what's going on, everyone? How you doing? I hope you're doing well. This one's going to be a little bit spicy. I want to rant about this because it's kind of gotten a little bit crazy. I'm sure you guys know about Keffals and Mutahar from Some Ordinary Gamers, and I will get into all of the meat and potatoes about this because I wasn't expecting this, but then I kind of was to a certain extent. If you know about this situation, you'll be like, okay, yeah, let me hear your thoughts on it. If you're unaware of it, I will briefly touch on it in a moment. But before we get into all that, this episode is kindly sponsored by Bespoke Posts. Bespoke Posts is a monthly membership club delivering a box of awesome top shelf goods from under the radar brands. It's free to join and you can skip a month or cancel at any time. 90% of the products come from small brands, many of which are based right here in the US. For example, the Forge comes with this Damascus steel knife that is made by Buck & Bear, located in Pennsylvania. I've had it for a couple of years and I still use it frequently. They now offer a new membership program where you can get really great deals all year around. I'm talking like 30% off or more sometimes, and it's totally free to join. So let me show you a couple of the subscription boxes that I got. Dram and Chop. The Dram box comes with 2 mixology glasses, 2 big ice balls so you can chill and not dilute your drink. You got an old-fashioned mixer, and then you have this field guide to whiskey, which has everything you need to know about whiskey in it. And the Chop box has an ulu knife, which is awesome, and then it also has this big vegetable cleaver. Every month they introduce their members to cool new products based on a preference quiz to fill out. You'll get a customized selection of products picked for you before it's shipped, and you can preview what's inside. Decide if you would like to keep it, swap out products, or skip the month entirely for no charge. You only pay for what you want. So go to bespokepost.com/SBGgift or click the link in the description and use code SBGgift to get a free mystery gift with your first membership purchase. What are you waiting for, guys and gals? Do it before I destroy you.
Supreme victory!
Alright, now that we paid some bills, I gotta get into this wacky situation because in one breath you would say this has nothing to do with Keffals being trans, but then at the same time, it has everything to do with Keffals being trans, right? Because she's a trans activist and she was doing some shady things with her trans activism. And so, like, to me, it doesn't actually matter that she's trans because there could be someone who is, you know, biologically born, they identify as what they were born as, but do the same things, right? It has nothing to do with Keffals being trans. It's just she's involved in the trans community and is a trans activist. And there's plenty of people who are, what do they call it, cis, straight or whatever, straight white men that are trans activists that have probably done a lot of shady things in their lives too. And so we're just covering, and people have been covering Keffals for what she's done and not who she is. And that's been a huge problem because there's a lot of people that have just taken the word of Keffals because every controversy she's been in, she is pushed back by saying the person that is criticizing her is transphobic. And that is the reason why I wanted to bring this up in the first place, because that has happened again. Because you have Mutahar from Some Ordinary Gamers who made a video that's almost like 2 hours long. I'm going to leave it in the description because it's a really important video. Details all of the stuff that she's been involved in. All of the stuff. And the first thing that Keffals said was, look at this transphobic thumbnail he used, and he didn't use my pronouns. And I'm gonna be honest, Mutahar kind of screwed up by using that thumbnail. There's nothing wrong with a thumbnail, actually. The thumbnail is from an artist that makes a bunch of online creators look just disgusting. And so that is the one that is used for Keffals. But because of this, it was an easy scapegoat. Keffals easily was like, oh, this is perfect. I can use this angle, and this picture makes me look very unflattering, and people are going to say, oh, you're trying to draw her looking like a man, right? And then, so that's the whole thing. And that has been the narrative. That has been, I have seen so little discourse about the video in question and all of the stuff that is inside of Mutahar's video, but just thousands, tens of thousands of likes and retweets about the thumbnail. And really, so much more traffic in the direction of saying Mutahar is transphobic. And I'm like, I can't believe that worked. I wasn't shocked that Keffals used that tactic, but I'm actually shocked that it worked. And the thing that sucks is, the artist is named Just a Worm, who has been getting relentlessly attacked and stuff like that. And there's people making a bunch of excuses. I saw some people talking about look, this is clearly transphobic. Look at how much of a man she looks like in this drawing. And then other people were saying like, no, that's just what they do. And then so they would counter with, well, look at the other women drawn. The other women that are drawn, like say there was a picture of SS Sniper Wolf, another streamer or whatever the hell she does. Not looking as, what would you call it? She still looks pretty feminine in the drawing. And I thought that was such a stupid thing to say, but this is where the discourse has gone, because SS Sniper Wolf is hyper feminine. She's always caked in makeup. I've seen Keffals in makeup a handful of times, but the vast majority of footage I've seen from other people's videos, she doesn't put on makeup. Like, you can just put a side-by-side comparison and looking at Keffals and looking at the drawing, and it's like, if you look at other drawings of other people, they look disgusting. I want one of those of me, but like, you know, I was like, whatever, because you can get one of them commissioned, but I'm like, whatever. Especially not now. Like, I think that ship is sailed. That dude's probably like, I'm laying low. I don't want to be involved in this at all. Poor dude, because Mutahar probably just commissioned him for it or whoever, and then he just used it, and then boom. And it's like, I could have told Mutahar or anybody from a mile away that like, oh, she's gonna use this and spin it. And not a good look, man, because the video is very good. It just lays out everything, all the stuff that she's been involved in, the scams. Like, say, I'm assuming that if you've watched the video before you've watched this, or you're aware of the situation. Again, if not, links in the description. But I will just touch on little things, because I'm just saying you may not understand what I'm saying, because I'm not going to go deep into the stuff that she's been involved in. But just like the GoFundMe scam, like she obviously scammed $100,000 out of people. Right? She said it was for one thing. She got swatted. Oh, she needs to move, secure a new place. Any money left over, she's going to sue the London police. I think London, Ontario, if I'm assuming, because it's from Canada. She's going to sue them because they did a horrible job. They did a bunch of terrible things to her. Turns out all that stuff was untrue. Turns out the stuff that they confiscated, and she said, I need to recoup all this stuff. She got it back before the GoFundMe even launched. And so it's just complete fraud. And it's like, yo, there's so many people that just don't seem to care, that have these parasocial relationships, or what they're doing is they're infantilizing Keffals. In the same vein where a lot of people that mean well will infantilize marginalized groups. Like even someone like myself, where they'll kind of like almost give you a pat on the head and be like, poor you. And I'm like, no, dude, what marginalized people want is, at least for the vast majority of people, they want to just be treated like a normal person. That's it. They don't want special treatment. There's a lot of people that do want special treatment, but that's not most people. There's a lot of, you would call special snowflakes from back in the day. Like, and unfortunately, Keffals is one of those people. Keffals is one of those people. When we would talk about social justice warriors back in the day, that is exactly what we're talking about. We weren't just talking about liberals and progressives in general. Some people would say things very in generalities because they were just being lazy. But there was a progressive ideological movement of like these zealots, not just progressivism on its own. There are some people that would disagree with that because they're like right and they're like whatever. But just if you're just a normal person, you know the difference. And she is just like an example of like, oh, this is like that shit that was going down 7-8 years ago. This person that's being extremely hostile, that has done all the horrible things that she's accused that website Kiwi Farms that she went to war with. Like, oh, they've done all these things. They've doxed people. They've harassed people. She's done all of the same things. Literally, doxing, gotten Destiny, that streamer, deplatformed. She's done a lot of horrible things. And there's still so many people protecting her because they're like, oh, she's a trans activist, and we just need to protect her at all costs because she's important, and poor you. And it's just not cool, man. It's like, if you truly saw trans people as equal to you, you would not treat them any differently. Not just like, oh, poor you, you've had such a hard life. And it's like, nah, man, like, I don't want that. Sure, I'll take free money, but if you're giving me free money, it's just because you want to give me money. It's not because I'm going to be like,
give me money. Money me. Money now. Me a money needing a lot now.
I want to touch back on why I was saying this is also complicated, because normal people that are looking into this, they're only seeing that negative stuff. And they're also seeing, like, the thumbnail, and they're also seeing actual transphobes, actual bigots, really, really mean people in the comment sections calling Keffals he and all this stuff, and just making it look like, oh, well, look at the people you're championing. And it's a very unfair thing to do, but it's normies, right? You can't expect them to see everything. And it's having Mudahar have a bad time with the video. So you'll see like a lot of these terrible people, and it's one of those things that has happened, and I think a great example is what is happening right now with Israel and Palestine, right? There's a lot of people that are criticizing the government of Israel and Benjamin Netanyahu. They're absolutely disgusted with what they've been doing. You know, tens of thousands of children have been slaughtered. Like, obviously, who wouldn't be angry about that? I mean, you would think you would think pro-lifers would be pretty upset about that, but they don't seem to be, you know, for whatever reason. But one thing that has happened, there's a lot of racists and a lot of neo-Nazis that are like, hey, let's do the Dutch and Dylan handshake. And it's like, get out of here. But, you know, because they're like, yeah, we've been saying terrible things about Jewish people for all this time, you know, and so you kind of have to swat away those people. You're like, we're not on, I don't agree with any criticism you're saying because it's coming from this hateful lens, right? But that's a thing that has happened, and there are Israeli propagandists and stuff that are using examples of that to see, to be like, see, you guys are siding with the anti-Semitics. There's a lot of propaganda happening, and this is exactly what's happening right now with that video in Keffals, where they're seeing some really terrible people say some terrible things about Keffals because they just don't like her because she's trans. They don't care about the situation itself. You know, I remember this happening to me years ago when I made a video refuting some arguments that a trans person made. Had nothing to do with them being trans or transgenderism. Had nothing to do with it. It's purely about political violence. And I saw a handful of people being upset that I was calling her she, right? I think I made this video in like 2017 or something. And I'm like, who are these ghouls? Like, who are they? Get out of here. Like, unfortunately, those people are going to show up because they're just insane bigots. And it's like, no, I don't care about those people. That's not what this is for. And then you have some people that are trans activists or people that are very extremely progressive, like progressive ideologues that will say that's smoking gun proof enough that you stand with the bigots. You are with them. And I think that is such a shallow and stupid take to make. Just like they would know that. They 100% understand that what's happening with Israel right now. They'd be like, the Netanyahu's regime has gone too far. This is disgusting. Everything that's been going on since post-World War II has been absolutely disgusting. We see the history of it. This is gross. And then you just saying stuff like that, they'll be like, you're anti-Semitic. Or you're standing with the anti-Semites and stuff. And you're like, what? No, I'm not. And they're doing the same thing to people that have a problem with Keffals as a person and don't care that she's trans. And so I hate that that's the discourse. I hate that propaganda works at all in this day and age. We have this really perfectly like crafted video that lays out all of the grievances, all the things, all the problems, and they're still finding things. Mudahar is essentially low-key calling Keffals a groomer because, you know, she's been helping minors get hormone replacement therapy, you know, like going behind the parents' back and all this stuff. And it's like, he's just simply saying she's been doing some pretty shady things, like helping minors get access to HRT. And there's some activists out there that are like, that's based. But I'm like, dude, it's just, that is not shit that you should ever get involved in. Like, all of this stuff, obviously, doctors should be involved in this. People with real credentials and degrees that have been studying medicine for a long time. And then to just go through these shady companies and stuff like that is crazy, man. It is insane to do stuff like that. And look I understand life isn't fair. We still have some things we need to sort out throughout the ages. There's a lot of things that people don't understand. But one thing that is certain is that we know what a charlatan is. We know what a grifter is. We know what somebody who does questionable things is. We know these things. These things have been established. And when you see someone doing this type of stuff, you need to step back and stop advocating for them. The thing is, they're my friend is bullshit. Like, oh, so you just like being friends with ghouls? You think loyalty is more important than having good company? Like, that says more about you than it does them. right? It's like, say, when grifters and charlatans come along, I'm much more upset about the people that are falling for it than the grifters and charlatans themselves, because they're always going to be there. They're always going to be doing shady stuff, trying to siphon money from people, do a bunch of shady things behind the scenes for their own personal gain. And then I feel like it's up to the people, the audience, the most people that are watching, listening, consuming stuff, to be like, nah, I'm not giving you money. I'm not falling for your BS. And stop perpetuating this stuff, you know? Because the lions, the sheep, the lions and sheep, that dynamic is always going to exist. Or the wolves and sheep, right? That dynamic is always going to exist. And then it's up to the sheep to just be more just vigilant. That's it. It just comes down to that. They have to be more vigilant and be like, nah, we're not going to let you. I know you're going to try, but we're not going to let you do this kind of stuff. And to just let Keffals get away with this kind of stuff is crazy. And then she did a smart thing, though. After getting into beef with the Ethan Klein, she kind of laid low. She kind of went away mostly. And I'm like, yeah, maybe that's a good idea. But there's other people that have done really terrible things. Doesn't matter what side of the aisle, they just stick around because they know they have so many parasocial, stupid, sheepish people that will stick around and still support them no matter what they do. No matter what they do. They can do the worst stuff, man. You can be like, I am a family man. I am a Christian family man, and I believe in the teachings of Jesus Christ. And then you'll also be like, Trump's awesome, where he's antithetical to anything that you would stand for, or like a Crowder, or any of those people, right? And the same thing you see happening where it's like Keffals represents the caricature of what the right paints of a trans person. Oh, they're groomers, or this, they're so, and then, you know, we're like that. We know that most trans people they're just people. They just want to live their lives like anybody else. And then all of a sudden you have this person, and then I'm like, dude, get her out of here. You're just stoking the flames of the caricature and causing these people to enforce the bigotry. Just be fucking real about this. It's just simple. Be like, all right, this was dumb. These people sucked. There are plenty of other people that are not doing weird shit like this. Go watch them. Go donate to them. Like, y'all need to calm down. But that's all I got to say about this. I don't want to spend all day because so much can be said. I did not cover everything. Like I said, I hope you watched Mudahar's video, and so you got all of the context. And that's it. And then just, I want to know what you think about my assessment on this. I think I was being reasonable about this. I really do. I think there's a lot of people, especially that, you know, that would consider themselves progressives, that they may be a little annoyed by this, but I think it's because sometimes hearing a little bit of real shit, man, it bothers you. It's like whenever you kind of mess up, when you mess up, you do something like my YouTube career, which, you know, I don't really do YouTube anymore. My main gig is doing a podcast, doing the Snark Tank. But throughout the time, there are certain things that I absolutely regretted, and I've talked about it. I've made videos about it, and there's anybody that has been wondering, like, oh, what happened to Derek? What happened to Some Black Guy? I'm like, fucking just sift through my videos. Like, the last handful of videos I did where I talked about, like, I don't really want to talk about politics anymore. And I'm just like, I just give you everything and I've other things that I've been involved in. And this, I just want to talk about this as an interesting situation. It was just as interesting as talking about Vosh. We're seeing similar stuff happening where people are just like, I'm going to defend him no matter what he does. And I'm like, that is crazy. You're just as crazy as some other people that you don't like. But all right, that's it, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Have a good one. I'll see you in the next video. Well, I don't know when I'm going to make another video, but if you want to see any of my takes or any really comedy show, just go to the Snark Tank podcast. Find it wherever, YouTube, all that good stuff. It's really funny, and yeah.